Welcome into the Eric Zane Show podcast, the daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. Today is NFL Draft Day. This evening, the NFL Draft begins from somewhere in America. I don't recall. Doesn't matter. The lead up to the NFL Draft. For weeks now. Every person who claims to know a thing or two about it is talking. This is the definitive mock draft. And we don't know shit. We don't know shit. I do say, though, that my Detroit Lions, the Detroit Lions, I can't say my Detroit Lions. Their first pick is the 6th overall pick. And there's some discussion about whether or not they should take this defensive lineman. I think his name is Jalen Carter from Georgia. Now, it's so Lions to have them have a bit of controversy surrounding the young man. Because right after the national championship game that Georgia won, Jalen was in a one vehicle, and his friends were in another vehicle, and they were racing down the road, like high rate of in and out of traffic, driving on the wrong side, just fucking crazy. Well, sure enough, the other car crashed. Everybody's dead, including like another player. It was horrible. And this ding-dong said, "Oh, fuck that," and he takes off. Police are there pulling the bodies out. They're all mangled. Everything's fucked up. He comes back on the crime scene, I guess, and one thing leads to another, and then there's finally he ends up saying, "No, I wasn't here. I had nothing to do with this." And then a little bit later on, it's like, maybe I was. So kind of like the truth comes out, real messy. And then there's talking about, okay, he's great, but there's this like character issue. That's a thing when you're drafting the players. There was one guy a couple years ago who like on draft day, like right before he was about to be picked, somebody posted a video of him wearing a gas mask with a bong taped to the opening where there would be like a filter on the gas mask. They put a bong in there. And he took a big old rip off of that thing while wearing the gas mask. It was hysterical. And that caused his draft stock to plummet because he takes the mask off and he's laughing, having a great time. And, these are all things that, in my opinion, should move your draft stock up, not down. You want that guy in the locker room who's fucking around wearing a gas mask with a bong attached to it. Some smartass probably thought he was doing that really. Well, he did end up hurting him because the guy's draft stock did. Like, people were like about to draft this guy. And they go, "Oh, no, wait a minute. He smoked some pot and wearing a gas mask. It was a great video, but we can't draft him. It's all about character in the NFL. You gotta be a good guy." And that might be the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard the NFL. What? The NFL? You all seem to get it. Young Adam Schwab says character counts in the NFL. No, character doesn't count. You're right. Donka 671, we hold these future wife beaters to a higher standard. Oh, my God. Yeah, so Jalen Carter, that's the only thing that could hold him back. So I say draft him. I say, in fact, when you announce it, we are drafting Jalen Carter, and we're doing it because he was involved in that racing incident. That's why we want him. Because if we want the guy who's going to do whatever it takes to win. And if that means lying to the cops while your friends are dismembered in the road, that's okay. That's an added bonus that he has no care in the world for his fellow man. Okay? See how I spun that? That should make him a more desirable draft pick, in my opinion. So draft that guy. Put that beast on the defensive line. So now you've got all these stud players. You got Hutchinson. You got, I don't know. A bunch of other people. I don't know enough about football. I know it's Hutchinson. And then you put this big beast there who murders people on the roads and then lies about it and then plays football. That's all good. Yeah, I love it. Donko says Detroit Lions should purposely pick the biggest fuck up in the draft just to see what happens. You know, like after last year's draft, they should have said, okay, this coming year in 364 days, we're going to have a top draft pick again. So I want all of you players to really, in college, to really fuck everything up so we can get the best guy for our team. You fuck it up, no problem. All that nonsense about the NFL with character is just that. Nonsense. If you are a moron and watch all that shit today, pay attention to how many times when they're talking about Jalen Carter, they're talking about his quote-unquote character. Of course he's racing. You know, he's a national champion. He knows he's got millions of dollars in his future. Okay? So he probably had an agent who gave him all the money he wanted, or maybe he got name, image, likeness money. He gets a bunch of cash. He doesn't give a shit about anything. There you go. All right. So that goes on today. It's got everybody's attention. Captivated everybody. In this household, it is a very important thing I'm learning with our new puppy, Darla, here. That, we always try to keep the NFK calm. We've learned over time that there's several things that you should do to keep him calm. He's an anxious little bugger. I like to describe his mind as open and closed chain links. And, if the remote control is 2 degrees off in its placement and he moves it 2 degrees, that is a closed chain link. Otherwise, it's like this, he has to close those chain links. All the little obsessive compulsive things that he does. Constantly getting up, gets up, puts ice in the cup, sits down, gets up, puts water in the cup, sits down. It's just a fucking ritual. Well, the latest ritual. Well, first of all, there's 2 rituals. If you leave the house, you have to tell him exactly where you're going and what you're doing. Or else he's going to ask a billion questions to whoever is left in the house. You don't want him to be not informed because he's going to cause misery for the person who is in the house with numerous questions about where they are, why they went there, when they'll be back, and all sorts of shit. No idea. I don't ever bust him on it because, again, Diana thinks he has autism. And I'm not even being a smartass when she says that. I'm just quoting her, but so there's that. But she actually thinks that he is autistic. Okay, great. The one thing you don't want to do, though, with this puppy is when you can't find her, because she kind of it's easy for her to get lost. You don't want to say, Darla, where are you? You don't want to make it known that you're looking for her. Because, man, he pops up and he is so worried. Where is she? Where, Darla, where is she? Where is she? Flapping his arms, running around, stomping around, bumping into shit, about to fall over. And all I want to say is, thank you. It's okay, though. She's around here somewhere, and I always find her, of course. Usually takes 1 second after that. But so Diana started doing it yesterday. And same thing. Gets up, flapping his arms, running around, looking for her. Of course, we find the dog, and then she goes upstairs. I go, hey, if you happen to lose Darla, do not indicate that she's missing. Because he flips out. We got to keep him calm. Tyler says, just keep him from flapping his wings and everyone will be happy. Kenny wants the NFK to show up here while I'm imitating him and flapping my arms. It's a very rare thing when he does show up. It's usually not good. It's a bad deal if the neighborhood kids pound on the door collecting pop cans because, you got this dude who looks like a serial killer answering the door. These kids are like immediately off the porch. Somebody came by yesterday and dropped off Daisy's urn, her ashes. And I want to get like a camera there to record those instances when the NFK has to interact with people in the public, like delivery people. So yeah, we got the urn, and really spectacular. Made Diana cry because they give you like the plaster paw print of your puppy, and we've added it to the collection. So now we're up to 5 urns in the cabinet. Regarding missing Darla, Tyler says, just come up with code words. You could ask, where's the soap when you're looking for Darla? He won't concern himself with searching for soap. Oh, I see what you did there. So true. My God. All right, last night, I find myself having such great difficulty pulling myself away from working. But I have to actually do it, I have to, because what happens is if I feel like I have to, because there's always something to do, I keep a list of things that I have to do, and I spend as much time as I can trying to accomplish those things. When they don't get done, and then I just start it up the next day. Where I run into trouble is I don't want to work anymore, but I kind of don't really have a lot on my plate that I can do outside of working. I mean, I need to put my mind of planning and plotting household chores. But something that I can actually get done. Instead of sitting here cooped up working on this. Now, I didn't actually do anything yesterday work-wise. But I did actually pull myself away from here to sit down and watch another episode of Bad Sports, which is a Netflix documentary series. I don't know if it's Bad Sport or Bad Sports. Came out in 2021. I told you about the first one, which was the basketball player in the point shaving scandal in the mid-'90s from Arizona State, Steven Smith. Yesterday was about Randy Lanier. And I had never heard of this fucker. Holy shit. What you have here, in a nutshell, is a guy who all he wanted to do was be a race car driver, and he was really good at it. The problem is that's a very expensive hobby, very expensive thing. And he actually worked his way to the Indy 500 and finished 10th in the 1988 Indy 500 or 86 Indy 500. And was the rookie of the year at the Indianapolis 500. Randy Lanier. He raced on a lot of smaller circuits and then worked his way up, And he funded the race car team by being one of the most prolific drug smugglers, pot smugglers ever. And ended up getting busted. And he was, like in the Reagan era, that laughable war on drugs that they had, where if you're bringing in pot and you get busted dealing pot or distributing pot over a certain amount, you are given a life sentence. He was one of those guys, and he spent 27 years incarcerated until we finally flipped on that. And thank God, and got all those people who were incarcerated for a long, long time to be free. He was one of those dudes. He was in prison for 27 years when it finally, oh, shit, hit the fan. This fucker, what started as he was just kind of, he'd get a fucking pound of dope and double his money, and this is in the 60s and 70s, and make a few $1,000s. He kept getting more and more involved, and then one day he had enough money to buy a fast-ass boat. This is before the war on drugs started, so then he'd drive it down to the Caribbean, fill up the boat with drugs, and then bring it back into the U.S. So it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then finally, as the war on drugs is heating up, he's having a harder and harder time smuggling pot in. So what he does is, you ever see on the ocean those barges with all the containers stacked really high, like 10 stories high or 7 stories high, and there's like a tugboat pushing it across the ocean? What he did was he bought one. He bought tugboats and a barge. And on those barges, he didn't put any of the drugs in the shipping containers, but in the inner workings of the barge, I didn't know this, but they fill the barge with seawater. It's called ballast, to keep it from being like all fucked up on the ocean, so it floats the right way. They welded a big piece of steel between that the lower portion and upper, to make a lower portion and an upper portion of the ballast compartment. And it was still functional, but the lower portion, it's like 12 feet in height, and then there's a steel plate for a ceiling that they welded on and sealed it, and then they would fill it full of pot and then weld this bottom onto it. So he's coming in with unbelievable loads of pot, some as big as 165,000 tons of pot, 165,000 tons. And so these giant loads are coming in, and he's making, $50 million per load. And the last load he ever wanted to run, because he needed to fund his IndyCar team, was the biggest load he had. The biggest load ever was the 165,000 ton load. And there's a problem, because he gets wind that one of his team got busted for something and was offering state's evidence, turning on him. And so the feds are waiting for this big load to port in Louisiana. And it's like 10 days out from the port. So this guy, Randy Lanier, he radios them and says, fuck that. Turn around, go back to the Panama Canal, and go all the way to the West Coast and head up to San Francisco. It's going to take 6 months for them to turn around and do all this shit, but the feds don't know where it is. So he does that. 6 months later, the weed shows up. But they were at sea for so long, some water got in to the ballast area and damaged some of the weed, about 25,000 tons of it. Here's where it gets more fucked up. When weed gets wet, it starts to decompose, and it produces methane as the byproduct. So his two iron workers that he has to take the iron lid off of the boat to reveal the ballast storage space where all the weed is, they don't know this. And they spark up the torches and start removing the welds, and it blows up. And these two fuckers are blown to smithereens of fucking boats listing. It's crazy ass shit. Oh my God. So they're like, fuck those guys. Get the weed. They salvage the rest of the weed. Oh my God. He races. He does well. And then his wife has a baby. And while he's going to see his wife to see the baby at the hospital, he sees on the TV his house being raided. So this guy leaves. It was at a diner, and he sees all these cops on his house. Mansion. Unbelievable money. And he fucking splits. He goes to Antigua. And he's living like fucking Red. Or not Red. Andy Dufresne in Shawshank. He's got like a small hut and a boat. And then that's it. He's all alone. And then one day he notices a seaplane flying over. He's like, that's weird. And sure enough, it's the feds. They got him. And he's walking down the road, and all these fucking cops show up, and they arrest his ass, and that was it. Oh, my God. Fucking A. This is a complete spoiler, but I love the story so much. It's fantastic. You got to see all these characters in this special, because there's a ton of just fucking ridiculous characters in this story. Oh, man. Amanda says, my Netflix profile says I've watched all these episodes, but I do not remember this. Radio Voice Linda says, watch The Alpinist on Netflix, about a crazy free solo mountain climber. All right, well, you got to redeem yourself, because you recommended I watch the stupid one about the dog, the rich dog, Gunther. Oh, fucking painful. And then I wasn't into the Breakpoint one, the tennis thing. They need to do a documentary about fucking pickleball or something. By the way, I think I need to play some pickleball. I think I need to do that. Like, everybody on Earth is playing pickleball now except for me. That looks very fun. It looks like giant ping pong to me, or small tennis. When I was talking about the welders getting blown to smithereens, Cole asked, are they okay? Well done. Kenny says you should watch Ted Lasso. You know, everybody tells me that. Everybody tells me that. Here's the thing about that. I generally don't like shows like that. I only like true crime shows and documentaries. And that show looks corny as fucking shit. All right? Very, very corny from what I've seen. All I see is this happy guy who's always in a good mood. This is from what I've viewed about Ted Lasso. Is he's just a really good-natured man, and he's in charge of the soccer team. And the soccer team sucks, and then they suddenly start to win. Radio Voice Linda says, I'm the same way, Eric, but I love Ted Lasso. Kenny says his character is corny, but the show is not. Well, is it a feel-good show? Because I fucking hate those. Ryan says, agreed. Never watched it, never will. Ryan says it sounds like Mighty Ducks shit. Kenny says it's so not about soccer. It just happens to take place around a soccer club. Well, is it a comedy? Or is it just like hit you in the feels, makes you be happy you're alive. Is it one of those? Is that? I mean, what are we talking about here? And no offense, but The Mandalorian is shit. I watched that as much as I could handle. I have questions about this Ted Lasso. I'm not saying I won't like it, but is this Kenny?
Hey, yeah.
So do you laugh when you watch Ted Lasso?
The thing is that it pulls out pretty much every emotion throughout the course of the show. You laugh sometimes, you get emotional at others. It's its own thing, man. I've never seen any other show like it.
You mean you start to cry?
I don't start to cry, me personally, but I mean, it pulls at your heartstrings in some moments.
Oh, it sounds like something that I would, just knowing me, I'd be like, okay, no, I'm not doing it. All right. And then what type of funny? Is it funny like, a puppy trips on a rock and falls on his face?
It's funny like the writers are fucking brilliant and it deserves every award that it's won, period. It's just great, man.
It sounds like you want to suck Ted Lasso's dick.
Why did your brain always go to the penis?
Chris says, I can picture Kenny hugging a pillow in a dark room, tearing up, watching Ted Lasso.
That's not far from the truth.
Oh. Well, if it makes you happy, all right. I'm willing to try it, and I must watch it on Apple TV. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the funny thing is the other day you said you don't even know how to, and you're the one with the iPhone, and I'm the one with the Samsung Android.
Well, yeah, how did you watch it then?
I signed up for Apple TV and put it on my Roku.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
How did someone convince you to do this? I mean, take me through it. Everybody was watching. You're like, look, I like to cry. I got to try this.
Well, I have a friend that's basically become like an adoptive second mom for me. She's an older lady, and I help her with her computers and stuff sometimes, a co-worker. And so she's got an iPhone, and so that's been a challenge if she has issues with that. I'm like, I'll try. She recommended it, and she just kept talking about it. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try.
So,
there's a trial for Apple TV, so like, I don't know if it's a month or 7 days,
okay.
But Cole, I never intended on keeping it.
Cole, talking about this motherly figure, he writes, she wants the pipe, Kenny. Give it to her.
No, that's not funny.
I don't think so either. I'm not laughing at that dumb joke.
I mean, it's legit. Exactly what I said. She's almost like a second mom for me. So,
yeah, Cole.
Make a joke,
that's ridiculous, Cole.
No, she watches tons of shows though, and she mentioned some here and there. It's just that this one she was just very adamant about it. And, if there's a trial, like, okay, I'll try this. And, I never planned on, getting so into it as I have. But there's just something about it, man. Like, they were shopping around in Hollywood or wherever trying to get the show, like, picked up. And everybody turned them down. But Apple took a chance. And everybody else is like, son of a bitch.
You are all about this show.
Yeah, man, it's in its third and supposed to be final season. Okay. So,
if you had to choose between The Mandalorian and Ted Lasso, you can only pick one. Which one?
Hands down, Ted Lasso, man.
Oh, shut up!
I'm serious. The Mandalorian is just the little kid in me that's always loved Star Wars growing up. That's what that's about.
Oh, this is like this makes you feel like a complete adult.
It's not about that, man. It's hilarious. I mean, it just is, and it's.
Wow, you sound like you're in love.
It's I mean, it's up there, man. You got me to love Breaking Bad and all that. But like Ted Lasso, Breaking Bad, they're like tied for like my favorite show of all time.
Oh
So
man. All right. Well, you know what? I'm willing to try this, and then maybe I will have this personal growth, where I'm singing the praises of this show. But it sounds to me like it'll be tough to like convince me to like this show. You know how cynical I am.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
All right.
well, I get why you don't like The Mandalorian, and there are some cheesy, moments to that, especially this season.
All right. Well, at least they did the right thing and eliminated that one character, Cara Dune, because she needed to be eliminated. She needed to be canceled for her big fat fucking mouth.
I disagree.
All right. Have a good one.
You too, man.
See ya. Oh, Ted. Ted, you warm my heart. Oh. That's the sweetest fucking thing I've ever heard. I'm so glad that mom number 2 recommended this one. It's just a winner. All right. There you go. How the hell did I get on this? Oh, I was talking about the Randy Lanier story. Spectacular. He's out of jail now. Obama. Barack Obama. Flip the switch. What a dumb time that was. It's really crazy to think the amount of resources that were wasted during the quote-unquote war on drugs. And now the fact that we live in a world where if I wanted to, in 30 minutes, I could go to a legitimate business and pay for pot that is taxed accordingly by the government. And 100% legit. I think cops are high now. I think cops turn a blind eye to when you're just smoking it. I swear to God, when I'm driving, I can tell, I've talked about this, when the motorist in front of me has a lit joint or something burning in their car. I can smell it with cigarettes too. But pot is even more easy to detect when I'm driving behind someone who's smoking pot or has pot lit in the car. All right. Thank you for enjoying the show. Live, as I do every morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch, twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. But some of you are getting the show on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I'm going to kick you all out. I mean, there's still an hour and 25 minutes of show left. If you want it live as it happens, uninterrupted, simply go to the free spot, twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. Twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. Create your little username so you can contribute on the chat and leave comments and we can have a good time. It is asshole free. Ever since the great Zaniac exodus of 2022. And follow the page so you know when I go live. Also, link up your Amazon Prime account. Once you do that, you can subscribe. Follow, subscribe. Two different things. Once you subscribe, you get the show as it happens with no commercial interruption. Otherwise, Amazon will throw in some commercials here and there. But you can bypass all that by linking up your Amazon Prime account and doing it that way. Or if you choose paying a few bucks, which, whatever. If you do it, great. If not, that's fine too. Or it's all free. Just sit through the commercials. I don't care. As long as you're here, that's all that matters. So there you go. As always, the audio of what I'm saying right now becomes the free podcast available wherever you download shows. So that might be Apple Podcasts or Spotify or iHeart. I'm on all of them. You can reach me via the Shoreliners Striping inbox. Eric at ericzaneshow.com is how you do that. I got a website with merch, ericzaneshow.com. Just click on merch, get yourself a T-shirt. I've got, I do cameos, cameo.com/ericzane. And, of course, a Patreon podcast. Patreon, patreon.com/ericzane. Ad-free, listener-supported Patreon with hours and hours of additional content for you. If the free podcast just isn't enough. What did I see the other day? I frequent the Free Beer and Hot Wings show subreddit. And they were in a discussion over there. This is really strange. Somebody was bitching about Kelly again, which a lot of people do on there. I don't know why. I find that to be silly. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. She is the content driver on that show. Greg and Chris should give her a raise. They should pay her what they were paying me because of how she drives the content. Now, you can sit around and make fun and say, I hate her, I hate her, I hate her. But in my experience, for the person who is has people saying, I hate, I hate, I hate, equally, there's I love, I love, I love. That's what I experienced. And like I said, some hate her, some love her. I know that this is my favorite part. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Yes. I could listen to that all day. But the people on there don't like her. And it's completely unfounded, in my opinion. So there's various bits of back and forth. And then, who was it? It was that dude, D. Squarius Green, JR, who just recently was turned on to my show here. He made a comment with that I was like, oh, fuck. This is not going to bode well. He wrote, I'll probably get downvoted to hell for this, but I actually just started listening to Zane's podcast, and it's pretty good. Almost has the feel of the old show. Now, typically, people hit the down button, and then whenever my name comes up, it gets people just rip me a new one, and that's usually the case. But for some reason, not with this one. And a lot of people voted it up, and I was like, well, that's shocking. And then this other person wrote, I canceled my subscription to Free Beer and Hot Ones this week and signed up with Zane. He must have signed up on Patreon. Thank you. I don't know who you are. It just says a Reddit handle, so I'm not sure which person you are. He says, Free Beer and Hot Wings is not what it was for several reasons. Zane's show is by far better. Oh, I'll tell you what, that put wind to my sails to see that. D. Squarius Green says, go back and listen to episode 940. Hilarious story about Zane's brother-in-law, and definitely has the feel of the type of story they used to tell on Free Beer and Hot Wings. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that is the infamous Gary Men's Warehouse. Never forget 940. I appreciate that. The way I do this show is I'm so used to being alone. It's a real learning curve to be able to sense when to start talking, to make it so it's not awkward. Be careful about that. It's not easy to do. But I think I got it. And so to anyone who's dogging on Kelly, that is...
That's so expensive. Yes. I looked it up. I was like, free beer. Remember what, though?
I could listen to this all day.
Jesus. Haven't seen it. It was a little obnoxious. That's so expensive.
You people got to lighten up.
Cars. Christmas, incredible. New York, come to Oregon. Come here. Temperature, algorithms, incredible. For crust, cripple.
I got a message from Trevor. He writes, Eric Zane, I just listened to the episode of Who Are These Podcasts, and you mentioned doing a Patreon show called Who Are These Free Beers? Man, I think this would be a smash for you. Look at the numbers you get with any Free Beer and Hot Wings drama. I, for one, would be so excited for it. I wrote, it's definitely going to happen. It's confirmed. I'm not sure how often it will happen, but I will definitely do episodes of Who Are These Free Beers? Trevor says, so excited. I think it's going to be a big hit. I know one. This is, he goes, I know one thing for sure. This will get Reddit buzzing. I don't have a timeline yet. What I'm doing is compiling footage of things that I can park on for the first edition of Who Are These Free Beers? It will take time. And I don't even know who I will collaborate with in order to do it. Ryan. Oh, no. Hold on a second. In fact, I don't even know if I want to mention this. Ryan, yeah, I do. You got your hands on a piece of audio not long ago. Because Ryan has a pal who does that Trump voice. And didn't you have someone butt dial you and they couldn't believe that Trump answered the phone? Can you send me that audio? I don't know if you sent it on text, but could you, if it was like an email or whatever, can you resend that? I definitely want to play that because I was thinking about that the other day and I did not actually play that. I need that. All right. Focus, Eric. Focus. So I'm going to kick you all who are watching on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube out. Thank you. Have a great day.